here on the Kofeld Distributing Coaches Show on SEMO ESPN.
Welcome in another edition of the Kofeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show. We are at Wings, etc. in the Cape Girardeau location. Coach Tuke is here. We will be talking with the reigning Ohio Valley Conference newcomer of the week, the league's second leading rusher, Tremaine McCullough, is going to join us. He almost set a record on Saturday at an 81-yard touchdown run, the fourth longest run from scrimmage in the history of Redhawks football, and that goes back a long way. That's not just Division I. That is ever 81 yards from scrimmage. Tremaine McCullough, who is from Royal Palm Beach, Florida. He'll join us coming up in just a few moments. We want to remind you that in addition to their award-winning jumbo wings here, both dine-in and carry-out, we saw a couple of people stop in. They called ahead for their order. They had it bagged up, and they needed to run. You can do that as well. We, of course, invite you to join us for lunch here at Wings, etc. If you don't know where Wings is, right in front of the mall, they're in the same parking lot as Steak and Shake. The parking lots are adjoined to each other. And in addition to their wings, they have a full menu, including fresh-made burgers, wraps, subs, quesadillas. They have entree salads, smoked ribs you can get here at Wings, etc. And their appetizer lineup is famous for their ultimate nachos. They have the deep fried spicy pickle spears. And, of course, the first thing you see when you walk in, all of the high-def flat-screen TVs. They have the best sports programming here at Wings, etc., including the NFL Sunday Ticket. So you want to watch the Rams go up to Minnesota with Todd Gurley, try to knock off Adrian Peterson and the Vikings Sunday at noon. You can watch the game right here at Wings. Let's welcome in Redhawks head coach Tom Matukewicz. And you have scheduled things perfectly because you get here about 30 minutes prior, and so you get your entire lunch. You're able to hit the entire lunch and get it done before you have to come up here and talk to me.
Yeah, you got to be organized. You know, one thing about food, I try to not miss too many meals, so I make sure I got it in.
You are one of those guys that with your coaches and your players and organizational skills, if you don't have organizational skills, you're not going to last very long in this business, are you? Yeah,
there's just too many moving parts. You know, we got 105 just of players, and then support staff, 20, 25, and then, just going to eat's a big deal. So you got to be really organized. And Joe Ools, our director of football operations, does a great job.
He really does do a good job. I mean, that's behind the scenes stuff. Now, Joe's out there on game day on the sideline. He's doing his coaching thing. But behind the scenes, You've got to set up hotel reservations. You've got to get restaurant reservations. You've got to schedule food multiple times a day. These are big boys. They need to eat. And then when you go on the road, hotels, you got to have all the key cards ready to go. You don't want 90-plus guys standing around in the lobby waiting to get up to their hotel room. I mean, it's a big process what Joe Ools does.
Yeah, we give every player when they get on a bus a string with their itinerary on it. So you don't have to ask, hey, what's next? Where do I need to be? And then we have Red Hawk time. On the road, we're 10 minutes early. You were kind of close, by the way, the last time. You got to be a little earlier. But you never know what's going to happen on the road. All of a sudden, you're waiting on an elevator, and then all of a sudden, you're late to a meeting. So when we go on the road, it's Red Hawk time, 10 minutes early to everything. And Joe does a great job. He got a 32 on his ACT. You'd have had to add mine together to get that. And so he does a great job. He's much better at those type of things than me. If it would just come down to me, I'd be really growly because I don't like doing those type of things.
Well, he does a great job, and he's organizing a road trip for you. In fact, 2 road trips, and they're very different road trips. You're going to Austin Peay this Saturday, then Jacksonville. Now, you go to Austin Peay, you can stay in Clarksville. There are tons of restaurants and hotels in Clarksville. Jacksonville, Alabama, different animal. You can't even stay in a hotel room down there. You got to stay. I don't know where you're going to stay, but I know it's at least 30 minutes to an hour. Okay, so Birmingham's an hour away.
Yep.
So that's another wrinkle. On game day, another hour, you get to the hotel. You got to go over for walkthrough and practice the day before. 2 totally different road trips for you coming up.
Yeah, for sure. And we got a young team, and a lot of coaches, including, never been there. We've never been to Austin Peay's new stadium. We've never been to Jacksonville, so this is a learning curve for everybody. So you just got to make sure you do a great job so that the schedule allows you to be at your best at game time.
Well, the stadiums could not be more different. Now, the new stadium for Austin Peay is nice. They made a great amount of upgrades, so they're to be commended. They really pumped some money into their football program. Jacksonville State's on another level. Anybody that has gone over to Carbondale to see the Salukis' new stadium, that is nice. It's not even in the same league as Jacksonville State. Jacksonville State literally on the FCS level is like an SEC school. Not as many seats, luxury suites. I mean, every amenity you can think of like an SEC program, that's Jacksonville. I mean, so, you're talking about two really nice facilities that you're going to play in. But Jacksonville, they may have the best facility in the nation, and that correlates with how's your football program. Well, they're number one in the nation in both polls this week for the first time ever. Facilities have a lot to do with that kind of stuff.
Sure. I mean, obviously it comes down to recruiting, and also having those suites allows you to generate income every home game, because you could sell those to businesses and those type of things.
I wanted to ask you, and we'll talk more about the OVC race and OVC football coming up, but the big game around the OVC this past week was a team you're going to play, Jacksonville, in 2 weeks. And, you're not going to worry about them until then. But I think everybody was kind of keeping an eye. You just played Eastern Kentucky, really good football team. They go to Jacksonville State, and they get absolutely waxed in this football game. How surprising was it to you? It was 34-0. It was not turnovers because there was only one turnover from Eastern Kentucky, and Jacksonville State lost a fumble. It was 507 yards to 175 yards for Eastern Kentucky, a total dismantling. How surprising was it for you that it was that lopsided?
As surprised as it gets, and that's why you play the game. Each and every game's different, and you don't know how certain matchups are going to go. So, certainly surprised, though, because I thought Eastern Kentucky is a really good football team, and they still are. Jacksonville State must, played at a really high level also.
It'll be interesting this week, and we'll talk more about it. But there are two undefeateds left in the league, Eastern Illinois, Jacksonville State. They play this week, but it's in Charleston. Yeah. And you know how it is to get up for a big game, and Jacksonville State, they were sky high playing at home against a team that was trying to take their conference crown from them. Now they've got to go on the road as a head coach. How often do you think about emotional letdown? We just got up for a big game. This is just as big a game.
Yeah, I think it's a big concern. I think just listening to their coach a lot and watch a little bit, they're pretty low key though.
Yeah.
He's not an emotional. He's not like me. I'm an emotional dude, but he seems pretty even keel. So I think his teams are probably that way too.
Your team was really hitting on all cylinders on Saturday, and you talk about what you did offensively, what you did on the defensive side of the ball, and then the thing that jumps out at you, obviously, in a 5-minute, 18-second stretch, your special teams produced 17 points. Let's start with the special teams. Ryan McCrum, a 50-yard field goal, his fifth career 50-plus yard field goal. Darius Dardenbach, a block punt for a touchdown. And then the remarkable Paul McRoberts, third game in his life being a punt returner, 69 yards to the house.
Yeah, I mean, that was a truly dominating performance by special teams. I mean, and then obviously the interception that set that up. Just a 5-minute span that kind of broke it open. I think, I was pleased with our defense other than the missed tackles. Offensively, I'm disappointed. I'm not going to – I am. I think we need to play better, and we need to be able to throw the ball better. We need to be able to make those big plays. And so we got to practice well this week and really going to turn the heat up on the offense. And we can talk about all the new starters and our injuries, but, at the end of the day, this lineup's been starting for a little while here, and I want to see if we can take that next jump because, we bring everybody back, but, if that's what we're going to do, that's not good enough. So I really want to see our offense take that next step.
One way that they can take a next step is third down conversions. I think you were 5 for 12 in this game. If you're about to 8 for 12 in this game, then you're probably feeling a little better about the offense today.
Exactly right. You don't have near the 3 and outs that we had and those type of things. So I think it starts with protection. I think it always starts up front. Just make sure we get everything dialed in. Find out what it is that Dante likes in the game plan each week, and then we got to execute.
Well, good to see the running game get going. Tremaine McCullough certainly kick-started that with 138 yards on the ground, but 225 rushing yards from your offense. And Dante was a big part of that too.
Yeah, Dante ran the ball well. I think we blocked him well. We knew that it probably going to be some big plays in there because they get everybody to the line of scrimmage. So just like you saw, you break that first wave, and then if you got a good enough gear, you could take it the distance. Next time, though, we'll make sure Tremaine, and he's going to be here. We don't high-five Dave and Goshi and everybody else in the end zone, so we get these 15-yard penalties. Which, by the way, I had no idea that's a penalty.
Who knew that you can't slap 5 with a fan? Did you know that? Why is that?
Who made that rule? Some crusty dude in a corner, right? Like, what's wrong with high-fiving somebody? But it is a rule, and so I definitely that's not on Tremaine. That's on me. I need to make sure our players understand that, especially with that end zone being that close. Find your teammates, celebrate with teammates, and then get back to the sideline.
Well, I will say this. You have probably played in enough stadiums that you may have never played in a stadium that is so unique as Houck, where you can run through the end zone and be close enough to the fans to even slap 5. It's a unique setting.
Yep.
So you may have never encountered that particular rule.
Yeah, exactly. I had no idea because I was, politely talking to the official about how I didn't think that was a flagrant celebration, and he informed me of the rule, and I was like, all right, well, I got better today. I didn't realize that, and I'll coach my football team.
What I thought was interesting, it's always fun to keep an eye on you on the sideline, and you get a chance to review yourself because you've got the sideline cam and you're able to see that. We were remarking, Rick Weezer and I on the radio, about your 40-yard dash time. You were quicker than we thought. Ryan McCrum had a kickoff you didn't like, and there was a sprint from one end to the other because you wanted to converse with him after the kick. And the 40-yard dash time, you're a little quicker than you look.
Just like I told my wife, she thought she was faster than me. Had to put that out. But it's amazing how you get comments about that all the time. And reason why I was moving quickly down the sideline was the fact that I thought Ryan hung his head, and we don't have bad body language in our program. I make mistake, they make mistake, but jog off the field and have a next play mentality. We love Ryan, and
it worked because his next play was go out and kick a 50-yard field goal, and he nailed it.
Yep, and did a great job, and that's the thing that we talk about, like, hey, you're going to make mistakes, you're going to miss field goals. We don't want you to, and you better not kick it out of bounds again. But all right, put a smile on your face and just compete. I don't want to look at some guy look like he just lost his puppy. I mean, let's go.
I will say this, not making excuses for anybody, that wind was as strong, swirly, and tricky a wind as we've had all year in any game, road or home. Yeah,
it was weird because we played into it both first and second quarter because the wind switched as we switched. It was crazy.
All right, special teams. I will bring this up. We'll talk more about Austin Peay as we go along, but they have played 9 games. They have had a punt block 6 times in 9 games. That's a problem for them, and that's a place where you excelled this past week. So I know that's probably a statistic that caught your eye.
Yep. Yeah, we, watch it, and Coach Martin and I have already met, and we feel like we got a really good game plan, and we always try to make sure it's a program term, and the fact that special teams can win or lose you football games, and so Saturday was an evidence of that. And so when you present that to the team, they buy into it more. And yeah, we got Paul, and we have Ryan and Alex, our punter, and Wade, our long snapper, and Manny as our holder. But there's all these other players now, Darden Box, and all these other players are starting to make plays in this kicking game, and it can really put you over the edge in a win or loss program.
All of the sudden, You were kind of middle of the road in punt return. That wasn't a strength of your football team. Suddenly, Paul McRoberts.
Yeah, we're terrible.
Now you're third, suddenly, with Paul McRoberts back there. So you're going to face an Austin Peay team that has had 6 punt blocks in 9 games. Are they going to max protect more? Does that give Paul McRoberts maybe a little more room? Are they less aggressive getting downfield? What potentially could that do for Paul McRoberts in the punt return game?
You just don't know. I listened to Kirby Cannon on his radio show, and he said they're going to kick it out of bounds.
Gotcha.
Not going to let Paul affect the game.
You've seen punters try to kick it out of bounds and end up kicking into the return.
It goes worse. Yeah, it goes worse. So we'll just see. We're going to play aggressive football, and I'm starting to trust our team a little more where we can make those calls. Early on we roughed the punter against Shorter, and I wanted to hang myself. So they're starting to get better, and so now we can trust them to play more aggressive calls and things like that. So it comes down to us trusting them to make those plays.
So, on the sideline, when it's a bad play, you're talking about hanging yourself. Do we need to keep the towel away from you at times? I mean, if something goes wrong, does somebody need to be on towel duty?
Yeah, I wouldn't hang myself. That's no way to go. I don't know. I'd bleed out or something.
So Tremaine McCullough is going to join us coming up here in just a little bit. What was it when you scouted Tremaine McCullough? Now, he came from a tremendous junior college program, Arizona Western Community College. They had over 15 players off this past year's team signed with 4-year schools, many of them FBS programs. Really good program. His numbers did not jump out because he had to split carries with a lot of really talented guys. What was it that you saw from Tremaine McCullough when scouting him? Hey, this guy can be an impact football player for us.
He's got a unique story. I was in my last year at Northern Illinois. I recruit South Florida for Northern. I know his coach extremely well. Recruited a lot of players. That's also where Wilson's from, his high school, same school. And so I really liked him. He was small, so I couldn't necessarily get him past at the FBS level. But then I got the job at Toledo, so it didn't really matter. I moved. They weren't recruiting that position, and so he ended up going to junior college, but I always loved him and had a relationship with him because I was recruiting him. Then when I got the job here, his high school coach called and said, hey, he hasn't found something he loves, and I know he'd love to play for you. I called him. He didn't even take a visit here.
Really?
I said, hey, it's Coach Tuke. About 30 seconds later, he said, okay. I said, all right, school starts here. All right, you need to get a plane ticket. Come on. And now he's on a full scholarship and doing well. But it's kind of an amazing story. We always knew he was a really good player, or I did, because I saw him in high school and loved him, every part of it. And he's a great competitor. But, some of those guys you spend all this time recruiting, they don't even play for you. And then other guys, you're like, hey, he got one opportunity. He's dying to come here, and he comes here, and look what he does.
Well, he's been outstanding, the league's second leading rusher. And the one thing that I don't think gets talked about enough with McCullough, he's your second leading receiver. I mean, he's a really good player catching the ball out of the backfield. You can't say that about all running backs. All running backs don't always have the capability to be impact in the passing game.
That was our problem. Our first years, we didn't have enough playmakers. Like, guys just do something with the ball. And so that's why we brought him. We didn't know that he was going to be the featured guy because obviously we thought, we were going to stay healthy. But we knew he could make a lot of plays and definitely something we were missing. So very fortunate he stayed healthy. He's a little bitty dude now. He may not be able to see over the microphone when he sits down here. But he is tough as nails, and pound for pound, maybe the toughest player on our team.
All right. When you saw the 81-yard run for Tremaine, what were your thoughts? I know sometimes prior to a play, you can say, hey, I think we can hit this thing. And then you see it live, and then you go back and watch it on video. What were your thoughts on that 81-yard touchdown?
It was just 11 people doing their job. They, blocked everybody they could block. There was one guy that Tremaine had to made him miss just past the line of scrimmage, and then it was just no doubt about it. He was taking it the distance and wasn't going to be touched. And then we had a sideline infraction. The referee ran into one of our redshirt players. But
how many hills was that?
No, that's what I told the team. I was like, we can't have that. But how many? He's an offensive lineman, red shirt player. Okay, it's a little cold out. Hell, there wasn't anybody in the stands, and he is so excited that he's scoring. He runs out on the field. Like, don't ever do that again. Okay, but I want to French kiss you right now because you are just as bought in as all the other guys that are actually playing, and so it was a good teachable moment.
So, in other words, what you're saying is I like the life and the energy and the fire on the sideline from a guy who has no chance to even get in the football game.
Yeah, but you can still affect it, and you can affect your teammates and be a good teammate by cheering on. And this guy has zero swag, too. If you met him, like he says nothing. And he actually gets a penalty by celebrating. I thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Now, normally you see a sideline infraction as a warning the first time, and the second time, that is unless there's actual physical contact with an official.
And that's what happened.
Okay. And that was kind of an odd thing you usually don't see on one play because that was a celebration play. 25 yards and penalties.
Yeah.
And it ended up being a factor because you kicked off from your 10-yard line. They get the ball at the 49, so that short field, and they ended up going down and scoring.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't even know. I couldn't even do the math. I was like, where the hell are we going to kick from? Because I've never been a part of that deal. And so it swung the field and put our defense at a bad situation. So, we got to make sure it doesn't happen again.
All right. So you get the rushing touchdown from Tremaine McCullough. And then, Dante Vandeven, a couple of touchdown runs. That is a dimension that this guy gives you at quarterback.
Yep. He is – he's deceptively fast. You see him turn the corner a couple times. Yeah. So he's faster than what people think, but he is cat quick. Like he has the wiggle and things like that. He hasn't taken the big hit. He's able to understand when it's time to just, get out of bounds or go down. And we got to work with that because, you don't want to get this guy blown up. But he's certainly a big reason we loved him to begin with. We offered him a scholarship because his ability to make plays with his legs.
And we mentioned the punt return and touchdown for Darius Darden-Box. Oftentimes, the guy that gets in to block the punt is not the guy that picks it up.
Yeah.
And then secondly, oftentimes it's not picked up and then run back for points. He did it all by himself.
He really did. And so happy for him because no one, everybody sees – Ryan's kicks and Alex's punts, but they don't really see how hard Darden-Box plays. This guy plays so hard. He's itty bitty too. He ain't very big either, but the way he plays is inspiring.
The turnover margin, which you have highlighted so immensely, dead last year in the league. You're now absolutely all by yourself at the top of the heap. A +8. The next closest two teams are EKU and Jacksonville. They're +5. So there's a separation there about taking the football away. Mike Ford, another interception, leads the league now with 4. Eric Moore gets another interception for you, a guy that is one of the captains on your football team. So 2 guys back in that defensive secondary continuing to show people that they are playmakers.
Yeah, one thing about Mike Ford that I'll bring up is, when he made that catch and it was right before it was huge. He saw the woman that bought that jersey because, they had shirts on that had the matching. And so he saw it. And I heard that he was saying, hey, that was for you. And you know what? That was what this was about, is to give these families their time and their shine a light on them. And so the Pink Up Cape thing was, way more than I even thought it could be, because I really believe it made a difference in our players' lives.
After the game, we saw a lot of the family members. They had pink T-shirts on with numbers on them. And the players came out in the jerseys, and we saw the families of the people that bid in the auction on the Pink Up jerseys, the pink jerseys that you wore for breast cancer awareness, and all of the families and players, and they all were there. And you were talking to many family members. How powerful was that?
It's exactly what we had hoped. I mean, it's better than what we hoped. Just the emails. I didn't get to see a lot of it because I was kind of getting hit, so I didn't get to like just witness firsthand some of the interactions. But it was powerful, and what no one really saw was the fact that that I took some pictures just myself that I can have the rest of my life was when the player went in their locker and their person's card was there with their story and their picture, and they're sitting in their locker reading about their person. Like that was really fun.
All right, the Redhawks getting set for Austin Peay. Is Tremaine here yet? Do we know?
I don't think he's here yet.
Well,
he's getting out of class at 12:15.
Okay, so it's going to take him a couple of minutes to get here. So give us a chance to talk a little bit about Austin Peay. Now, the one thing that jumps out at you is the fact they haven't won a football game. They lost on the road this past week. They've lost 36 consecutive road games. That's a long streak. They are 0-9. They've got some guys, though. They really have some guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be really interesting to watch Austin Peay this week if Rod Owens matches up with Paul McRoberts. Here's a guy among the league leaders in pass breakups and interceptions, a real playmaker. Where's number one defensively for them? Seems to always have his nose in there. Do you anticipate him drawing Paul McRoberts on Saturday?
I think so. Their coach talked a lot about that matchup and the fact that, if Paul was going to catch a deep ball, that he was going to earn it because they're going to try and take it away from their alignments. And so I know they're working on that. And Owens is a really good player. He looks like $1 million and does a really good job. So the difference is their defense is really good. They got it to a 2-score game versus Tennessee State and, could have had even better there, held them to 20 and held Jacksonville State to 27. And I think Jacksonville State scored more than that on Auburn.
Yeah.
And so this is certainly the team's plan, I'm sure, would be a lot like Shorter in the fact that play good defense, run the football, try to get it into, shorten the game and try to get it to a 1 to 2 possession game and see who messes it up or who makes those plays. And so, our challenge is stop the run, but offensively, let's have some explosive plays. In the passing game.
And time of possession is respectable. They're 4th in the league. They're controlling the football for 30 minutes every game. So, that's for an 0-9 team, that's pretty impressive, keeping the ball away from the opposition, which they did against Jacksonville State.
Yep. So I think it'll be a challenge for our team, and just want to see how we've progressed on how we go about playing. It's kind of easy to get up for Tennessee Tech. They beat us last year, got the Pink Up game. Are we going to put the kind of work in this week against Austin Peay? I think we will. I certainly am going to be watching for it and make sure that we do. But if we do, we should have success.
You've won 8 straight games at their place, so you've had success at Governor Stadium. It's interesting. If I told you, without looking at a stat, that a team was 0-9, you would probably say they're probably close to last in turnover margin in the league. They're not. They're a +2. They have the second fewest turnovers of any team in the league. That's impressive for 0-9. They don't beat themselves.
Yeah, and penalties too.
Yeah.
And so that tells you they're coaching like that. That doesn't just happen. And so Coach Cannon does a good job with his team from that standpoint. And they're pretty conservative too. With that. And so they're going to be hard to get. And so that's going to be a challenge we're going to talk to our defense about.
And their starting tailback is Kendall Morris. He's a redshirt freshman out of Francis Howell High School. He's from St. Peter's, an all-stater up there. He was 5th in the St. Louis metro area in rushing as a senior, and now he's a redshirt freshman. Here's a guy that ran for 141 yards and a touchdown against Eastern Illinois. That's a team where you could not run the football against the Panthers. So that's an impressive set of numbers for a guy against a good defensive team.
Yeah, and they recruit Southeast. They signed Southeast Missouri. They signed a couple kids from this area, and so they're in St. Louis. And so this is a big recruiting game for us, and we've recruited against them. And to be honest, it's tough. You say, well, they're 0-9. Say, Coach, you see that new stadium?
Yeah.
And so if you're them, and so this is a big game, we got to play well. So in the recruiting trail, big stadium doesn't sway them.
And one of those guys is Cape Central's Jalen Fly Sadler, who's a starting left tackle as a freshman, 6'8", 327, led Cape Central to the state championship game last year. Obviously, there are a lot of people around here kind of want to know what's happening with Jalen Fly Sadler. What do you see from him on film? He's a starting left tackle at Division I as a true freshman. That doesn't happen a lot.
Hey, good for him, man. He's a self-made man. I got nothing but respect. I'm going to bro hug him before the game and bro hug him after the game. And during the game, we're going to whip his ass.
And, you look at their offensive line, Coach, 3 freshmen and a sophomore on that offensive line, and the 3 freshmen are all true freshmen. I mean, they were playing high school football last year. So that is a spot where they don't have a lot of Division I experience.
Yep. And so it shows, but certainly not going to take anything from those guys because I know they work hard.
And a quick scouting report on their quarterback, Trey Taylor, dual threat guy, very good athlete, originally signed with Central Arkansas, redshirted, didn't win the starting job, so he ended up transferring to Austin Peay. But a guy that scored a 31 on his ACT. We're talking about ACT. How much of an advantage is it to have a really smart guy playing quarterback?
Oh, it's extremely important. Now, he's not doing quantum physics on the field, so there's a difference between being smart and what I would say instinctive player. What bothers me is he's so big. So he could, he's athletic, so he breaks a lot of arm tackles too, which makes it tough. Or you get him in a pocket, and it's hard to affect him as much. But we got a challenge this weekend. I'm really looking forward to this game.
6'3", 215, their dual threat quarterback, Trey Taylor, for Austin Peay. All right, we're going to have Tremaine McCullough here coming up after the break. Coach, when we talk about guys that have an extra gear in terms of speed that other guys don't have, would you say Tremaine McCullough falls into the category of guys who have a special gear?
Yeah, he's got the gear. I think it comes from his hair. He's got this fancy hairdo. I think his mom's helped him out with that. Maybe that's where his speed comes from.
All right, in a foot race and we'll ask him, foot race, Tremaine and Tay Bender, who you got in that foot race?
He'll probably tell you, but I think Tremaine would get him.
All right, but those are 2 extremely fast guys, right?
Yeah, you bet.
Who's the fastest defensive player?
It would probably be between Jamal Holloway and Michael Ford.
All right. Michael Ford, who leads the league in interceptions. All right, we'll talk with Tremaine McCullough, who has had an interesting football career. Florida to Iowa to Arizona to Missouri. He'll join us when we come back. It's the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke at Wings, Etc. and Cape on the SEMO ESPN Sports Radio Network.
It has been growing about etc.
And we welcome you back to Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau. It is the Colfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show with Coach Tuke. And we want to remind you at Wings Etc. their menu is outstanding. They have a terrific, comfortable, laid-back atmosphere. And we are right in the middle of lunchtime. Their daily lunch specials are half-pound lunch specials. They start at just $6.49. They have their food and drink specials throughout the week, including their famous 59-cent wings on Mondays. They have a terrific kids menu. Our kids love wings. They have family-friendly video games in the dining room, and they are open 7 days a week. And on the weekends, they're open late because the games run late. It's Wings Etc. We are at the Cape location, and we invite you to stop by and join us for the rest of this show and enjoy lunch here at Wings. We're going to talk it over with Redhawks running back Tremaine McCullough, who is out of Royal Palm Beach, Florida. How big, Tremaine, how big is Royal Palm Beach, and how far is it from Palm Beach and West Palm Beach?
It's not that big, actually. It's separated Royal Palm and Wellington, but it's actually very close to Palm Beach.
All right. What would you say the humidity is in Royal Palm Beach compared to the humidity in the summertime in Cape Girardeau, Missouri?
Kind of about the same.
Similar?
Yeah, similar. You know, hot. I can say that.
Well, you came from a place that was pretty hot, too, in Arizona, and there is no humidity out there. They say, well, it's a dry heat. Does that make it any less hot in Arizona?
It makes it very hotter. I say there's no other place like Arizona.
All right. You played for a really good program there, the Matadors, Arizona Western, and they won another league championship last year. I know you guys went on and you won a bowl game there. Over 15 guys signed to play football at four-year schools. You played in a good program against good competition. Tell us about what it was like playing at Arizona.
I say it's a very good program. The coaches are great. You know, they get a lot of kids from Division I's or out of high school, and they progress them to move on to bigger D1s. But I say it's very great playing there. You know, JUCO. It's hard playing JUCO football, but the coaches, they made it a lot easier. We had a lot of talent on the team, so I feel like it was a great experience.
All right, now you rushed for over 500 yards there. Again, a guy that had a nose for the end zone, getting in the end zone there. How good was that backfield that you played in? I mean, if you're splitting time there, there must have been a lot of good players.
Yeah, we had actually 4 good running backs. One of them is from close around here named Daryl Monroe.
Yeah.
He was a starting running back. He was a great kid, you know, awesome running back. He started. Then there was another running back. He came from Illinois, and I was the third string, but we all split it. We got carries, you know, we just made it happen.
What are the facilities like there? Because that's a pretty good program.
The facilities are nice. You know, they protect you from the heat. I could say that, you know, but other than that, it's a great place.
Interesting. So you start out in junior college in Iowa, the same school where Tay Bender was. Tell us about your time in Iowa.
I would say Iowa was actually better. Besides, you know, when it gets real cold.
Yeah,
you know,
it gets cold in Iowa. I'm from Western Illinois, and we're about 50 miles from the Iowa border. So I know what the climate's like up there.
Yeah, coming from Florida, you know, it gets cold. It's about the worst thing, but. Playing at Iowa, it was great. You know, that's when I met Tay. He was the quarterback. He came in. We kicked it off. Like when we first met, we became friends. Like he was a good dude. And from there, it's just I didn't get to play that season though. I redshirted due to I had like a little hamstring injury.
Yeah.
But I say Iowa's a nice place.
All right, I gotta ask you. We asked Coach Tuke, foot race. You and Tay, 40-yard dash, 100-yard dash. Who wins that one?
I say I'll get him in a foot race.
Yeah,
he knows that.
Now, 40-yard dash. Do oftentimes you get timed in the 40-yard dash. Have you been timed in the 40? What's your best time?
My best time was 4.45. Actually, I ran that coming out of high school. But when I got here, I don't know. I think I had slipped up a little bit due to the turf, but I had a okay time. 40 time here.
Easier to run on turf, which we see a lot now, or natural grass surface? Which do you prefer?
I kind of prefer grass. Just growing up playing on grass all the time. Backyard football, just constantly on grass. I feel like grass is better for me.
Now, was football your only sport growing up in Florida?
I actually ran track. I played basketball for a few years. My first sport was actually baseball, though. I like baseball.
Tell us about your baseball days. SEMO has a conference championship baseball program. This is the teeth of St. Louis Cardinal country here. This is a baseball area here.
Yeah. Baseball growing up, I didn't really do it in high school, but before high school, I played it a lot. I was a shortstop, outfielder because of my speed and I can catch the ball. But I was more of a steal bases because
I was going to say, how often did you get thrown out stealing bases?
I was always first to bat, because I was get on base, but I didn't get out too much. I was good at stealing bases.
They're one of those guys that when you got speed like that, they just say put the ball in play, bunt it, pound it into the ground, whatever, because you're probably going to beat it out.
Yeah.
All right, so track and field. Tell us about what it was like there and how grueling is track. We've talked to a few guys who I say, do you miss track? And the first word out of their mouth is no, I do not miss track. It was fun in high school, but I do not miss the work.
That's pretty much sums it up. Just track, it comes with a lot of work, basically just running all day long. But I did track in high school all 4 years. I ran the 400, and I did mostly field events, long jump, triple jump, high jump. Only reason I stopped doing track and field because it was bad on my knees.
Yeah.
All those jumps, but I actually won state in long jump my senior year. I jumped to 23.3 with the fathers. I actually hold the record at my high school for the fathers jump, but I love track though.
Wow, and you've got a famous guy that graduated from your high school, Jared Saltalamacchia, who is a major league catcher, and or he's from Royal Palm Beach, and I think he's been in the big leagues for like 10 years now.
Yeah, I don't know much about them, but they produce a lot of baseball players.
All right, Florida. I was stationed in the Navy in Key West, Florida for 4 years. So that's even further south than where are you? You ever get down to the Keys?
Yes, I've been to Key West. It's a very nice place.
What do you think? It's a little different, though.
Yes, it's a lot different.
Very different. You got Margaritaville down there. That's Jimmy Buffett's song. Margaritaville was about Key West, Florida. But, boy, that is some nice country in Florida. Did you even own a winter coat before you went to Iowa?
No, never. Barely had a jacket.
I was going to say, how big of a shock was it when all of a sudden temperatures start dropping into the 30s come November?
It was a lot of shock. I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't prepared for it. Coach can tell you that I was come to practice. I just will have to run around all day long just making noises because it was too cold. I had to psych myself out, but I handled it very well.
Well, then you got to Arizona, so that took care of that. No more winter gear until you come back here. Tell us about your experience. Coach Tuke said that he talked to you. He was familiar with your high school down in Florida, and then a chance to recruit you coming out of junior college. Tell us about your relationship with Coach Tuke.
Coach Tuke, he's a very great dude. I met him my junior year, going into my senior year. He came to watch me practice one day. He was just like, man, I like your attitude. I was actually playing corner before I was playing running back. He was recruiting me for defense. Ever since then, when I moved on to JUCO, he stayed with me. He stayed in contact with me. He came and visited me again when I was in JUCO over the break when I came home. And that's when I was like, okay, this guy, he's seriously, he wants me, And when I graduated JUCO, I finally realized, like, okay, I gotta get back with Coach Tuke. He's the guy for me. He's the only coach that ever stayed with me through all the process, through everything that I had been through. He was the only one that picked up the phone calls for me. So that's why I decided to come here and play for him.
Tremaine McCullough, the reigning OVC Newcomer of the Week. He's won that award twice. Of course, his 220-yard rushing game against Murray State. How good was it to break free on an 81-yard touchdown run? And did you know that it's the fourth longest run from scrimmage in school history? They've been playing football at SEMO for a long time, so that was a pretty big run for you.
Actually, I would say it's a blessing. Just got to stay patient. Great things will come to you. I just got to give it up for my old line. First of all, I would never have made that run without them. They had split the hole. I mean, anybody could run. I mean, Coach Took could have ran through that hole.
Wow. We know that he has a good 40-yard dash time. You probably didn't see him sprint on the sideline to get over and talk with Ryan McCrum after a kickoff he didn't like. So we know he's got a little quickness.
Yeah, he does. A lot of times in practice when I get on his bad side, he's right there on my tail. So I know he's pretty fast.
All right, now once in a while he's been known to high chest bump a guy coming off the field. What's it like to get a chest bump from Coach Took?
I haven't got a chest bump yet, but I feel like he might knock me over.
81-yard run. Now, maybe if you didn't get the penalty, you might have gotten a chest bump. But Coach Took said he didn't know about the rule slapping 5. I didn't know about the rule. Did you have any idea?
I had no idea. That's why I just went and celebrated with the fans. They always celebrating with us. So, I had to celebrate with them. I didn't know it was a flag. But now I know, so I won't do that again.
Well, you can run over and point to him now, right?
I don't think we can do that.
You can't even point? No pointing. All right.
No pointing.
Well, all right. They just smile at the fans and then run back. How good did that feel? And were you pretty confident? Guys don't look over their shoulder. Sometimes if you're playing in a place that's got a big jumbotron, you can kind of watch the jumbotron as you're running. How confident were you no one was going to catch you?
I felt pretty confident. For the past weeks, I wouldn't say I got hawked, but it was a mean angle. I kind of got hawked for the past week, a couple of games. Coach was getting on me about finishing runs and practice all day long. So for the past couple of weeks, I would finish my runs, and inside of practice, I would just, run to the end zone and just keep running. And coaches have to wait on me to run another play. But I was like, Coach, you want me to finish my run? So, I got to practice this for when I come in the game. But I felt pretty confident. Coach always tell me, like, you're one of the fastest persons on the team. You're one of the fastest person in this conference. Nobody can catch you. So I just had to just keep moving.
What is the biggest jump from junior college to Division I football? I noticed very early on in the season, I saw you bobble the ball a couple times, maybe on a pitch or on kick returns. It's not like you were coughing up the football and giving it to the other team, but talk about the jump from junior college now to Division I football.
I would say the biggest jump was just staying focused. Coming from junior college, it's like, it just everything's everywhere. It's sort of like high school football. I would say junior college is, you got to, when you Division I, you got to stay more focused. Coach Took always talk about that laser focus. Got to have that laser focus. And I felt like that was about my main thing, just focusing before the game and during the game. Just my job and my assignment. Just focus on what you have to do, and just complete it.
All right, Dante Vandeven, a freshman quarterback. How do you think he has handled things? He doesn't act like a freshman who the stage is too big for him, does he?
Nah, he doesn't. I say Dante, he's a great kid. You don't find many like him. When he first came in, I didn't think too much of him. I never seen him play before, but after that first game, I was like, wow, this kid is amazing. Like, I never seen nothing like this before, like a freshman.
All right, we know about all of the players that you played with, and not only that you were on the roster with at Iowa, but also in Arizona. All the guys that have gone to 4-year programs. What's it like to play with a guy like Paul McRoberts? How special is that guy?
Paul is very unique. He's one of a kind. He's another one that I never seen nothing like him before. He's just, I could say he's half man, half amazing. I should say, he does great things for us, on and off the field. He's just a great guy all around. His attitude, he's always humble. He's always positive. He never talks down. He's just always positive. So, all
right, you have returned kicks. I don't know if you've returned punts. How tough is it to go from being strictly a wide receiver and all of a sudden, hey, why don't you go return a couple of punts? He gets a couple under his belt and all of a sudden runs one back 69 yards for a touchdown.
That's why I say that's what makes him unique. From him just being a start at wide receiver and then to go catch punts and to return one for a touchdown. That's half man, half amazing. Most kids can't really do that. I have trouble catching punts. That's why I'm not back there on punt. Coach Took, he got on me in the summer about dropping punts. He was like, "You'll never be on my punt team again."
That was it. Punt teams, but you're on kickoff return. Now you were until you got the starting running back job.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with the injury to DeMichael, and he'll be back next year after taking a medical red shirt. How different is it returning kicks, and do you miss it at all now that you're not on the kick team?
Yes, I miss it a lot, because I feel like that's one thing I can get to the next level with special teams, because I'm a small guy, so it's going to be hard, to play running back in the next level. So special teams is something I have to work on this off season. So I feel like I will, just work hard on special teams, catching kicks, catching punts, and just running.
All right, now if you think you can take Tay Bender in a foot race, you can take McRoberts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We just get that on the record. So here you go to Austin Peay. You guys have a chance to put a winning streak together here after your win over Tennessee Tech.
Yes, we do. I feel like Austin Peay. A lot of people talk down on Austin Peay, but I don't. That's something I don't do. You have to. You can't just overlook your opponent. You always have to watch film on them, study them, and just do your job.
Now, you said you played defense. Now you're playing offense. Which did you like better? Do you like hitting people or do you like being hit? Or running by the guy that's trying to hit you?
I mean, scoring touchdowns and running the ball is always great, but I would say I'm more of a defensive guy. I just love defense. I don't know why. It's a natural thing.
All right, and now you are a heck of a pass catcher out of the backfield. Did they utilize you in high school and junior college catching the football?
I would say yes, they did. High school, I was like one of the main guys, so I played almost everything coming out of high school. Junior college, I didn't get so much of that because it's sort of like college, so you have one position. I played running back and a little wide receiver, but they utilized me very well, though.
All right, I just want to warn you ahead of time. Before we get to Clarksville, Tennessee, the new stadium, they're Austin Peay. They're called the Governors, and you will hear the fans chanting, "Let's go Peay." Let's go. I don't want it to shock you. You're going to hear "Let's go Peay" when we get to Clarksville. Just want to give you a heads up. Hey, now you said you are on Twitter, right?
Yes.
All right. Let's get your Twitter address out there so people can follow Tremaine McCullough on Twitter.
My Twitter name is ESPN Maine MAIN 2. ESPN Maine 2.
MAIN. Okay. Now nickname. What's is it T-Mac? They got a nickname for you? What are your teammates called?
I have two nicknames: T-Man or Main.
Main.
Yeah.
Antonius Cleveland on the basketball team's
Yes.
nickname is Main.
Most people know that, but yeah, we have the same nickname.
How about that? When did you find out you guys had the same nickname?
I don't think he knows that my nickname is Main, but I know that his name is Main, so nobody don't really know that, though.
All right. Well, we're going to have to get these guys together. He's an all-conference basketball player for the Redhawks. It's been a pleasure getting to talk to you today. Best of luck the rest of the year. We appreciate it, Main.
Thank you.
All right. ESPN Maine 2. You can follow Tremaine McCullough on Twitter. We'll take one final timeout. Come back, get Coach Tukes' final thoughts from Wings, etc. It's the Colfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show. Final segment here with Coach Tuke, the Coalfeld Distributing Redhawks Coaches Show at Wings, etc. in Cape, and it is lunchtime right now, and they have their daily half-pound lunch special starting at just $6.49 right here at Wings, etc., and they're over in Jackson too. So 2 locations, whichever one is closest to you, and we will be back here in the Cape location next week as the Redhawks get set for a game at Austin Peay on Saturday. Now it's not a bad drive. It's 3 hours or less depending on how fast you drive. So it's an easy drive to get over to Clarksville, Tennessee. Kind of an odd start time, 4 o'clock. You don't start a whole lot of football games at 4 o'clock, do you?
No, and I don't know why you would. I wish I could change that. So, but we're not. I'll tell you, Tremaine did a good job. I know he's a little nervous, and this is a part of the process. Of hopefully he's going to be one of our marquee leaders next year because he's got a lot that I love, and his ability to communicate is important. And he did a great job today. And, it's just going to be a fun road trip, man. I love playing on the road. I don't know why, but you're with your team, and it just is different, not near the distractions that you have when you're at home.
I don't know if you've ever been to Clarksville, Tennessee, but they have a road. The main street there is Wilma Rudolph Boulevard, and it probably goes for 7 or 8 miles. And literally, if you can name a national chain restaurant, I don't care what it is on that road. You've never seen a restaurant road like that. So you guys will have no problems finding a nice place to sit down and eat.
Yeah, we get all of our meals catered in just because you can't show up to Tubi Rouge Day with 105 people. So,
yeah. Good point.
But hopefully get a nice coffee from Starbucks or something that I can get in the morning.
Well, you can get about anything you want in Clarksville, Tennessee. All right, you've seen Austin Peay on film. You have, I say film, you've watched video. I mean, it is no longer film, but that's the word that we use. But you've seen them on video. What are the biggest challenges you expect them to present for your team Saturday?
Stopping the run. They're very multiple formationally. So our defense has to do a lot of things that we can't help them with. They got to be able to check plays at the line of scrimmage. So that's a problem. Offensively, they've been able to play well defensively, not give up a lot of points. So just, can we make some explosive plays?
And a chance for absolute school history on Saturday. I know you may not follow a lot of this stuff. You're worried about game plan, winning football. But Paul McRoberts can break the school record for receiving touchdowns. He's tied with Willie Ponder, 26 receiving touchdowns. It'd be nice to see Paul get that record Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't realize that, but I know he'll end up with it for sure.
Yeah, he's one of those guys on punt returns. It'll be interesting to see if they slip up and don't get a punt out of bounds on Saturday and see if he gets a chance to return one, if you guys get a chance to block one.
Yeah, first thing we got to do is make a punt.
Yeah.
So we come up with a good plan. But if we do, I really think we can generate a lot of explosive plays on our end on our punt block team.
They're going to be chanting "Let's go Peay," just so you know.
And that's an issue, right?
Yeah,
that's not okay.
I think that's a big issue, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I see it on there. They even have signs of it up there.
Their website is letsgopeay.com. Yeah, Peay. Yeah. So they embrace it. It's always fun to go to Clarksville, Tennessee, and the Austin Peay Governors. Coach, we will see you in Clarksville on Saturday. Thanks so much.
Sounds good.
That's Coach Tuke. Thanks to Tremaine McCullough, who is getting his wings. He got an order of wings that he's going to enjoy for lunch, and we invite you to stop by and join us. Not only when we're here, remember they've got this NFL Sunday ticket. If you want to watch the Rams and the Vikings this Sunday, you want to watch Missouri Thursday night, they'll be hosting Mississippi State. You can see all the games right here at Wings, etc., not only in Cape, but also in Jackson. So we'll get you back to ESPN radio programming. Thanks to Coach Tuke. Thanks to our engineer, Dean Field, for his work on site. We'll get you back to ESPN Radio, and we will talk to you Saturday from Clarksville, 4 o'clock kickoff with the Governors. So long, everybody.
Missouri's ESPN Radio Sports Network, 92.9 KLSC Malden, 1220